Perfect. Hello, friends. Just give everyone a minute here to find us. You can see my light moving around. Okay. Happy Wednesday. Oh, I see people rolling in. Shelby's here. Good. I saw Christina popped on. Excuse me. So we'll just give everyone a minute. Today we're going to be expanding on the Create a Scene live that I did last week. And I made these 2 panels. I showed you how to create the scene. Well, they've been sitting on my desk. And I thought, ooh, there's a stamp set I really, really want to use, and I'm going to finish my scene. So I thought maybe I would let everyone else finish it with me. Diane's checking in from Florida. Hello, I hope it's a beautiful day there. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, Judith. Oh, Christina's here too. Hello, hello. All right, I am going to get started. So like I said, last week I did a video where I showed a bunch of paper collections, and then I did this demo on how to build a scene. Now I have moved this over to our YouTube channel now, so I just took that segment out and I put it there so that you can find it easily. And I'm going to do that with videos moving forward until we start broadcasting live from YouTube. So if I had 5 minutes to figure out the things I want to figure out, then we would be further ahead. But it's been kind of crazy lately. So baby steps, right? But that's okay. We will get there. So I did have a hard time deciding which scene I should use. And I decided to go with this one. I did play around with this one, and I think it would work out really well. But for what I have in mind, I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to set this one aside. Oh, and I wanted to point out what I did was, with both of these, I took my outside-in stitched rectangles from Lawn Fawn, and I put stitching around the outside of the panel. Now, the reason I used that particular brand was because they have the largest die in the outside-in rectangles, gives you the largest panel possible to fit on an A2 size card and leave yourself just a little border. So I'll show you what I mean. I've got a card base here. So once I did the stitching, if I put this onto my card front, you see how you still see the white border of the card? I like that. I don't like to have the full panel. It also gives me the option that if I want to put a different color behind this scene, like black or a color that's in my design, and cover the whole front panel of the card, I can do that too. But I really like that size because it allows me to do exactly this. That way I'm not taking away very much from my panel because I got a lot that I'm going to put on here. So I want to make sure that I leave it as big as possible, but I do like to have that little border. Okay, so what are we reading here? I'm turning them into baby cards. Okay, Elliot was playing with pouncers for this scene. I'm turning them into baby cards. Cool. Okay, that's it. Okay, perfect. So that's what I'm going to do. And I did it to this one as well. So you can see that I've got the stitching on there now. So it's kind of ready for the next time I want to do something. But we're going to work on this panel first. Okay, so I decided I wanted to play with this set here. It's called It's a Bird. Now, when this came out with their February release, I was very excited for a couple of reasons. I'm a bird nerd, so I love the idea of the birds. But these little mice also look like they're going on an adventure. So I feel like I can use them for a lot of scrapbook layouts and things for my traveling. So I was pretty excited about this, and I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. So stamped die stencil is what we're going to work on with that. And then I also paired it up with the Lawn Fawn Heart Tree. So again, stamped die stencil. And this comes with this beautiful tree and then a few more birds as well. So those are the 2 sets that we're going to use. And I did prep ahead of time, but I left the tree so that we could color that together. Because I am going to be using the stencils and I want to kind of show you that process. But I did all my mice. They're so darn cute. So I'm just going to put them on here so you can kind of see them. And I had a ton of fun coloring them up. So there's the 4 little mice that come in the set. And like I said, I had a ton of fun coloring them up and adding all the little details. It does take a little bit of time, but I didn't want to have a super long video, so I did those first. But the same process that I used for these mice is what I'm going to use for the tree. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll pull out my sticky mat, because I've already die cut out my tree, and it's just hard to hold it in place and stencil at the same time. So I'm going to just put my tree right there on my sticky mat. I'm going to zoom in just a touch more so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. Now, got to remember to stay in frame. All right, and we're going to grab out the stencil that comes with this tree set here. And there are 1, 2, 3 stencils. Well, here, let's show you the stamp set. So the stamp set comes with, let's flip the panel over, the tree itself, and then it comes with these 3 birds, and then a greeting and a whole bunch of these little verses that these 4 over here can fit inside the heart on the tree, which I think is pretty cool. And of course, some little music notes. And if you have a close look at those music notes, they're not just circles on the end of the notes, they're little hearts. I love that. And there is actually a die, I think, for those music notes. Yes, there's a die for the little music notes too. So those are really fun. Okay, so then we've got the little stencils. Now on the stencils, they're broken down into sections. And here, let's see if I can pull this back on. I don't know if it's going to show up, but there is etching on the stencil that kind of shows you how to line things up. But once you've stamped your image, it's really easy to line these things up. So this part does the trunk. Okay, so I'm just going to line up my stencil on the lines that are stamped when you stamp it out. And just, again, take a minute to just make sure that you get it lined up straight, because if you don't, once you start stenciling, you're going to go outside the lines and it's going to look silly. So there we go. All right, so that is all lined up and ready to go. So it's blocked off all the areas except for the trunk of the tree. So I pulled out my Pinkfresh inks. Now I know a lot of you buy ink cubes, and the only set of cubes that I own is in the Pinkfresh brand. So it's nice for me to pull the Pinkfresh inks over to my table, and I just open up the little case, and then I can flip back and forth to all the different colors that I want to use. So I am going to use 2 browns. I'm going to use Warm Buff, and I'm going to use Dough. And those are the 2 brown shades that I'm going to work with to do my coloring on the tree. And I've got an ink stand just up above my workspace here, and that's going to hold the cubes in place while I ink blend, and makes it easy for me to get the ink off the pad without chasing it around my desk. And then I'm going to be using the blending brushes from Altenew. These are the micro brushes, the ones that are flat on the top. And in that pack, you get 2 that are the number 10 size and 2 that are the number 7 size. So this would be a full pack of the micro brushes. And both of these sizes are really great for doing this kind of stenciling. So I'm just going to pull out my brown brush. And then I also have a microfiber cloth right beside me here. So as I change ink shades or colors, I just wipe my brush on here to get the ink residue off, and then I can move on to the next color. Okay, so we're going to start with light, and I'm simply going to start blending the tree, because this is my kind of all over color. I could even go in with a bigger brush, and I think I'm going to. Those are the brushes I used for the mice, but because the tree area is a little bit bigger, I am going to come in with this size of a brush, just so I can get all over coverage a little bit quicker. Okay, so here we go. I can come back in with those other brushes to do more detailed blending in a few minutes. But this just gives me kind of all over coverage quite quickly. A lot more quickly than if I was using that other brush. Okay, so you can kind of see that the blending is done overall on the trunk. And now I'm going to come in with this one, and I'm going to come in with a darker shade, and I'm going to just hit the edges of the tree. So I'm actually kind of swirling my brush on the stencil itself, and then just allowing part of the brush to come over onto the edge of the paper. And that's how you get that really nice shading along the edges. And it's going to give you that really nice shadow that everybody loves to have when they're coloring images. But you don't have to be a color expert to do it. That's the part I love about the stencils. In all honesty, it has made me love Lawn Fawn even more. I mean, I've always kind of liked them, but I avoided them because it required so much coloring, and now I can just do it with my stencils. So that's my trunk. I'm just gonna brush this off, and I'm also gonna brush this one off. I have gotten into the habit of doing this after I'm done with a brush, and that way the ink doesn't sit in your brushes. I don't necessarily do it the whole time I'm working with them, but definitely when I go to put them away. That way I don't end up with the ink sitting in my brush and letting it get all hard. Okay, so here is the trunk so far. All right, and then the leaves, what they've done is they've broken it up into 3 sections, and that will allow you to use different shades of green and get variegated leaves when you are doing your coloring. So again, you just have to sort of layer on the stencil until you get it all lined up, and then the sticky mat will hold it into place, and then we go hunting for our green leaves. Okay, so this is the green that we've used for our grass. So I'm going to kind of go with, I'm going to add a bunch of different greens. I'm going to use Grassy Knoll. I'm going to use, I might test this, Eucalyptus, and then I might come in with Olive. So I'm going to kind of bring in that odd color green, but I might try, well, I'm going to test these 2 different colors here, because I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, but we're going to see. So I need a little scrap, and when I test ink, I don't even necessarily need a scrap of like cardstock that I'm going to use for my project. Just a scrap piece of paper is all you need. And I'm just going to pull out a green brush here, and I'm going to try this color, and I'm just going to kind of get an idea of if this color combination kind of goes together or if it is going to be really whacked out. Because sometimes what you think is going to work. So these are going to go right next to each other. Okay, so there's enough of a difference there. Now the question is, are we going to go with this color, Eucalyptus, or, oh yes, I quite like that. Okay, yep, that was my first gut instinct, was this one, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush off, bring my project back over here. So the first round, we're going to use the Grassy Knoll. Now again, it doesn't matter what order you go in when you do this. The 3 layers will block off the different sections on their own, so you don't have to worry about lightest color first or anything like that. And I'm simply going to lightly go over those areas with my brush. Just a light hand at first, just to kind of give them some color. And then I can decide if I want to go back in and go heavier in any of the areas. So really, you could use 3 colors of ink, but depending on what pressure you use with each layer, you can have 2 variations of this color, 2 variations of the next, and 2 of the next, which really gives you a lot of greens. And essentially, you could use the same green on all 3 stencils and just use different pressure each time you do it. So you've got lots and lots of options with the stenciling. So I'm just going to hit a couple of the areas a little harder and give the leaves a bit of an edge or a darker green tip in this color family. And again, it's not a super intense blending that I'm doing here. I'm just giving it just a little hit of color, a little darker in some areas than others. So no, it's really random, not crazy. Okay, so that's the first layer. Now we're going to clean the brush, and then I'm going to come in with olive on the next layer. Okay, so you can kind of see what we've got going on there. That's the first one. Oops, now we're just going to move down on the same stencil. Now this one has a bunch of leaves kind of right up next to the ones we just did. So I'm going to actually jump to this color now, the eucalyptus, and we're going to go in and we're going to add that color in. So this is a different green than the first green, different color family, like it's in a different row of greens in my ink collection. The Pink Fresh inks go from light to dark. This is in a completely different color family. I see people are still rolling in. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of hit the base of some of these leaves a little bit, just to give them a little bit more depth. And these brushes make it so easy to do that. Okay, so now we're going to pull that off. So I'm just going to hold it up so you can kind of see what's happening. So see how we've got the light green that I put on first, and now we've got the darker green that I just applied, and some of it is a little darker and some of it is a little lighter, depending on my pressure when I was inking, and also depending on whether or not I added a little bit of extra texture in when I had the same color out. So you can really play around with what that looks like. Okay, so now we've got just a few leaves, and I'm going to go quite dark with this olive. So I'm getting a lot more ink, and I'm not even going to brush off. I'm just going to go in really hard and just give it some real good depth. And this is going to look so good. And I know I tell you not to go back to your ink pad all the time and pick up ink, but this is a time when I really want to lay on that ink and make it nice and heavy. Okay, and now I'm going to just kind of brush off, cover that up, push that back, and then we'll take off the stencil, because now we are done blending our tree. And I'm just going to show you how cool it looks once you get all of those leaves done and how much variation you get. So you could use this tree for fall, and you could create it with all different fall colored leaves. You could use it for Valentine's Day and make it like all the leaves pinks and reds and stuff. So if you want to get really creative with it, you can do all kinds of fun things with it, but lots of options for colors for the leaves. And again, you just pop that off your sticky mat and you're ready to go. So I'm just going to quickly pop my ink cubes back in here, and then we will get this out of the way, because that's all the coloring I'm going to do. I'm going to get my MISTI out, and we're going to stamp a little something in the middle of the tree heart. So let's say I wanted to make that heart really stand out. When I was blending the tree, I could be just a little careful that I don't get too much ink in this section. And then I could come back in, because they actually have a stencil, see, where you can block off the heart and really add ink. So if I wanted to make that a heart, like a red heart, or even you know, keep it, like maybe I want to make it much darker than the tree itself, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit. I could go in there with a different ink color and do that. But I'm going to let it be. I did it kind of lighter than the rest of the tree, so it's not quite as dark. But I am going to stamp something in the middle of it. Excuse me. And I'm going to use my, no, I'm not going to use my MISTI. That's just silly. I am going to use a stamping book. I'm going to live on the edge. And I'm going to pull out an ink pad, and then I'm going to decide which little sentiment I'm going to do. So I already have a plan for this card. So what I am going to do is choose something that goes along with the sentiment that I'm using, and I'm going to put on here, you got this. So I'm just going to take that little stamp off, and I'm going to pick it up with my acrylic block. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle of the tree there. You don't have to stamp anything there at all. You can just leave it plain and just let it kind of blend in and let it be a heart tree. But I am going to put a little saying in there. I'm going to pull it off screen for just a second so I can get on top of it. And now we've got that little greeting there that says, "You got this." And I'll hold that up so you can see. So we'll just pull that up and it fits in there perfectly. So that is what that looks like. So cute, right? Everything about Lawn Fawn is cute. Okay, so now we are going to clean off the mat so I don't get ink all over my white card. So somebody had emailed into the store asking about a few things. The first thing she said was that she better get herself a notebook. She says she does pay attention, but she can't remember all the things. So when you hear me talking about getting a notebook, this is something that you could put in the notebook. She was asking about the spray I use to clean my stamps with. Now I know she was referring to this. This is alcohol. So you never, ever, ever clean your stamps with that. Because alcohol is drying and it will dry out your photopolymer and your rubber. So you only use this. The only reason I have it is to clean my glass mat and my stencils. So stencils are fine and things like that, but don't ever use it to clean your stamps because that would definitely do more damage than good. It might get them clean, but it's not going to be good for them. So you should only use like a mild soap and water and a very soft scrub brush if that's what you want to do. Or you can use an actual stamp cleaner that has been designed to clean your stamps and sort of condition and take good care of them. So don't ever use your alcohol on your stamps because that is a bad idea. So I just wanted to kind of cover that because sometimes I don't always talk about what the alcohol is for, and I don't want anyone to get the wrong information that that we should use it on our stamps because that is not what we want to do. Okay, so now we've got our tree and we've got our scene, which is right here. So my idea is my tree is going to kind of go in the middle. Now it looks great already just like that. Right? I love it. So now we have all our little mice. And here's my vision. So I've got this guy here. He's kind of looking up at the tree with his binoculars. And, oh yes, and Shelby's putting up links. We did get the spray bottles back in stock. So they went out for a week or so. They come in teal, clear, and pink. So, guys, I'm telling you, they're a really great option. So you can totally pick one of those up now if you want to. And so we've got this little guy down here. We've got this guy. He's kind of up a little bit further and he's pointing up at the tree. And this guy's looking at something up there. And then this girl down here, she's just reading the map. So I'm going to have her kind of down in the front. So that's sort of what I'm picturing. It's a very busy tree. And then I have all these little birds that I've colored up. I'm going to hold them up just so you can kind of see what I did. So there's sort of two-toned birds. They're a little bit of blue on the top, and then I came in with a little bit of pink on the bottom. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of birds they are, but they're going to be sitting in my tree and flying around in the air. So I did do all the coloring on those birds and the mice ahead of time, but same steps as I took when I did the tree. Okay, so you can just kind of play around with your ink colors and decide, do you want gray mice, do you want brown mice, you know, what color you want the clothes to be, etc. I'm just going to give you a little close-up of this little one here, and you can see that I did a little detailing with a white gel pen. We've got the Signo ones, and then I've got this one here, this Milky Pop one. I've tried that too. They both work really good, but you can see that there's a little bit of detailing done there. And they're just adding some little accents on there. So what is Shelby saying? Looks like the tour bus just stopped and the bird nerds. That's exactly what it is. And I'm not even going to tell you which one I am. But this is totally what I'd be doing. Yes. So yes, the little girl, this chick here, she's looking at the map. She's trying to figure out what bird it is. Exactly. So if you must know, this is me right here. I want a close-up view of what's going on. So I don't know. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start sticking some things down here. And I'm going to start with my tree because things kind of overlap the tree. And I'm going to lay my tree flat against the background because I'm going to be popping up some of the elements on the card. And I don't want everything to be elevated. And if I pop up the tree, then I'm going to have to pop up the mice even more. So I think I'm just going to stick with the tree being flat on the ground. And then I don't have to worry about too much popping. So I'm just going to apply some glue to the back of this. Yeah, when you're creating scenes like this, it's really easy to just kind of get lost in what they might be doing. And if you can relate to it at all, then it makes it even better. So yeah, I'm on this field trip wherever we're going. And I'm the one with the binoculars getting a close-up look. I don't want to be in charge of the map and stuff like that. I'm not real good at that, so I'm not going to do that. Somebody else can do that. All right, so we're going to put our tree kind of right in the middle here. Something like that. Let's make sure it's kind of straight. And then I'm just going to come in here with some magnets and I'm just going to put those on there to hold that tree down onto my paper. And that frees up my hands to do other things while that's sort of drying and setting. Okay, so I know I'm going to be popping up some of the mice. So I'm going to bring in my foam tape. And guys, look, I'm getting real close to being done this. So it was a year on January 17th that I opened this this roll, and we're almost 3 months in to the new year, so it's lasting quite a long time. Okay, so we're going to pick me up here, put a little bit of foam tape on the back, and then we're going to, so another thing I like to do is have a little dish close by, and this is where all my little bits go, things that you know, you peel off the back of adhesive or little die cuts that you have or whatever. And then that way I'm not always reaching for the garbage and I just want to keep popping it in there. So that's what I do. Okay, so she's coming down here kind of in front of the tree, kind of just like that. And I love that already because she's elevated just a little bit. So it kind of makes like maybe she's out on this hill versus the one in the back here. And then we got this little guy. He's going to be over here, but I'm going to, again, put him flat. I don't want everything popped up because it really makes the scene seem dimensional if you have different elevations. And I did see a comment there from Carolyn. I'm just going to finish gluing and then I'm going to see what she's saying. Okay, so now we're going to put this here. She is very excited about what's in that tree. And that would be me. Okay, so you make me want all the lawn fun things. Oh gosh. Well, and the thing is, if you think they're cute on the screen, when you start working with them, like they take on personalities. It's kind of crazy. All right, and now we've got this one down here. Now I'm going to try to see which one do I want to pop up. Oh, I think I don't want them really overlapping too much. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to pop up the front one, and this little guy is going to have to be flat. This is a pretty inexpensive set. This, it's a bird one. It's really cute. And I just think you can't go wrong with the mice. Okay, let's just kind of position this and make sure we get them in the right spot. Okay, this looks good. Put him down there. And now we'll foam dot this one. This one gets a little elevation. And these sets are fun to play with too. Like if you're making a birthday card and you just want to have one little critter on it, they're fun to pull and add to different things. Okay, so there we've got our little mice. Now, aren't they cute? Okay. So now we have to decide where we're putting our birds. So the two birds that I thought were good for the trees, because they're not really flying, are these two right here. So this one could be standing like kind of over here. And this one could be standing kind of down here. I want to cover up my leaves too much, but I thought those looked really well. And I'm definitely popping those up because I feel like they're going to get lost in the leaves if I don't. So we'll just add a little bit of foam adhesive to the back. of each of those birds. And then and by the way, I did get a sneak peek of the next Log Fawn release, which is coming in April. I can't leak any secrets, but I am going to say that you should save your pennies because there are some really, really cute things coming. Okay, so there's one little guy. And then this little guy we're going to put right up here. And it works out perfectly because if you look at your guy down here with the binoculars and this person right here, we're looking straight up at those birds, which is amazing. Okay, so now we've got those tucked in there. And I am going to add some clouds. You'll remember if you watched the video, I did cut out some clouds because I was talking about stenciling the clouds up in the sky here. And then I said, or you can add clouds. And so I pulled my clouds out and I saved them. So this is the Rainbow Cloud Duo from Tailored Expressions. One is stitched and one is plain. Now I did one of each and I'm actually going to end up using both. I'm going to put the one that doesn't have any stitching kind of in the background here. And then the other one, oh, it might be too big for two clouds. Let's just see here. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really fit two clouds. So maybe we might have to do one cloud and we could pop that cloud up for sure. I really wanted two clouds. Let's just see. Can we tuck this underneath? Maybe. Because I like when you can overlap them just a little bit. Something like that. Does it look too crowded? Okay, let's leave that there just for a minute. And then I kind of had one bird, I was imagining that it was kind of flying maybe into the tree. And then this one we've got kind of up here, flying from this direction. And then I did make up a sentiment on a banner, and I'm going to show you how I did this, that I was kind of thinking I was going to have like something like that. That doesn't look too crowded, does it? No, I think it works out good. Okay, so we are doing two clouds. All right, so we're going to put glue on the back of this. Alrighty, so we're just going to glue that up. And then I'm going to carefully put this on, and I am just going to tuck it slightly underneath this leaf. That's a very tall tree. And make sure it's straight. Okay, is that straight? I think so. And then this one, we could pop it up, but then it's going to kind of go over the tree a little bit. Is it realistic? Well, I don't think mice are realistic either, but we're gonna pop it up because I think it looks good. All right, so we're just gonna add some foam adhesive. Boy, you guys watch me from all over the place, in other countries, at appointments. What is one of the craziest places you ever watched alive? I'm sure we've all done it in the bathroom. I've done it in an airport. You know, when you're bored and you're waiting. What about you guys? I like to prop my phone up in the kitchen. I hate being in the kitchen, so I prop it up on my windowsill by the sink if I'm doing dishes or anything like that. I will often have it, and sometimes I carry it around the house with me, depending on what I'm doing. That's usually when I really have to watch something. On a cruise through the Panama Canal. Well, that's an interesting spot. Okay, so there we've got the clouds. Okay, and then we're going to stick our birds on, which I also think need foam adhesive, just to give them a little dimension. Oops, that's this one. So there's one, and then we need a little bit on here. I'll be honest, I try not to be on my phone very much. sometimes you just have to. Okay, so we're going to have this little guy flying in down here. And, oh yeah, folding the laundry is a good one too. I've definitely done it. Yeah, those mindless tasks that you just hate doing. It's a good way to make the time pass good. Okay, so there is pretty much everything stuck down. That looks so cute. And now I'm going to attach my sentiment. So before I do that, I'm going to show you how I did it. Remember we've been talking about these Build a Sentiment sets with Lawn Fawn? I pulled out a couple of them, but I couldn't come up with a saying. I came up with lots of sayings that I liked, but I didn't have enough space for them on my card. So I put them aside. But then I noticed that in the tree one, it says, I believe in, and then it gives you love and you. So I want to put I believe in you. But it is very similar to the Build a Sentiment ones. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to demonstrate how I do it so that you get an idea of how these sentiments work. Now I've zoomed in so much, I'm going to have to get rid of some of this stuff so I can stay on screen. Okay, so we need a piece of paper. So I've saved a little piece of paper here. So this is where the scraps come in handy. Okay, and I'm going to pull out the I believe in you and the exclamation point. Okay, so I like to stamp it on the paper first, and then I'll put my die over top and cut it out. So all you really need to do is get part of your sentiment in place. So I'm going to go with that. And then I'm going to pick that up with the door. Okay, and now we're going to be working on the door side of the Misty, because trying to line it up on here and have it not stick to your fingers is almost impossible. So you just have to remember that you're reading backwards, okay? So the next thing I'm going to put on here is my U, and you just line it up with the end of the previous stamp, and then the exclamation point is just going to go on the end. And I actually use my tweezers, here we are, to put this in place. Now, if I tried to do that on the other side, they would just stick to the tweezers and they'd be falling all over the place. But if you use your Misty lid, it's very easy to put it in place, whoops, as long as you don't move it, without it sticking to you, because it wants to cling to the door. And that's really what you want. Okay, so now that's all lined up. Perfect. Just gonna close the door. So there it is, ready to go down. But way easier to do it on the door than it is to do it on the paper and then try to pick it up. So just use that as a tip, well, for whatever stamps you're working with. If you're trying to line something up and you can do it on the lid versus on your paper, then it's much easier. Okay, so now we're just going to close this up. And light pressure. And now you have your I believe in you sentiment. So it works really well. But this particular set, you can substitute the word you for I believe in love. It came out at Valentine's Day, so that's why it has those sentiments. But you can certainly use any other sentiments that you have in your stash. But again, I was kind of going for a bit of an inspirational card. And what I really wanted to say on this one was, I hope this card made you smile, because that I could make up with those other words, but I didn't have enough room on the set to actually put that all on there. So I have to save that for another one. And then once you get this done, then you can pick out a sentiment strip. I got this from Master Layouts 3. There's quite a number of them in this one, and they have different widths and lengths, so this one worked out good. And now this is where I'm going to sort of place this. Now I want to have it down towards the one end, because I'm actually going to have this going off the page. So I would just put this on and then run it through the machine. So I've already got one done, but I probably lost it. Nope, here it is. So this is how I ended up cutting it out. But I'm going to actually have the end hanging off, and I'm going to cut this straight. So there will only be a banner at the one end. And I'm just going to kind of mark that with a pencil, just so I know. I say that. I tidied up before my live, and now I don't know where anything is. It's so bad. Okay, So I'm just going to make a pencil mark kind of on there. And that way I can just take my trimmer and trim that off, and it will be able to line it up with the edge of the card. So those Build a Sentiments are really cool. I'm going to be putting a Lawn Fawn order in the next day or so. So we're going to top up those again because people are really loving them. Okay, so that's going to go there, and I am going to pop this up too. Lots of popping going on. Okay, so here we go. Oh, my iPad is stuck. I hope we're not stuck. Let's go back out. Refresh. Wow, great. It's being stubborn. Okay, so this is just going to go right on the edge here. Oh, I have pencil marks on there, but I can get those off. And then my sentiment just kind of lines up with the top there. All right, let's just see if this will load. Oh no, I hope I'm not gone. Oh. Wow. Well, let's pull it up on the computer. I don't know if you guys are there or not. Oh, am I still here? I don't want sound. Okay, it looks like I'm still good. Okay, I'm going to carry on. Uh-oh, I'm getting a message. What does that mean? Oh, good. Not gone. Okay, thank you, Christina. Okay, good. All right, so I'll just carry on. I've lost my card base now. Yeah, all of a sudden my iPad just went, and I'm like, oh no, are you still there? Okay, so then this is going to go on here, and it's going to look so good. I'm just going to put that flat against there because I've done popping already on my my mice and things. I don't want it to get too thick, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down. Okay. And now I'm just going to put this right on my card base. And when you use liquid glue, it just gives you a second or two to just shift things around. Well, that's pretty good. And I do like to generally throw a few magnets on there just to hold it down for a minute or two. I've got these big bar ones too, just kind of plunk it down. But that is how I did finish off this card, and I think it turned out really great. Okay, let's just see here. I'll hold it up so you guys can see the finished card. And because I had done that scene already, it lends itself to so many things. I think you can really create some fun things with those scene backgrounds. Now, my idea with this one was I was going to put the tree down here. It kind of went up over the circle just a touch, not much. I had it kind of down at the bottom here, and I had a couple of the mice, and then I had another couple up here doing something else. And then I had some birds flying around and another greeting. So I might make some more mice and go ahead and make the scene for that as well. But I just thought it was so fun to create with this set. And because, you know, they're all individual pieces, you can mix and match them with other sets you might have, other greetings you might have, and have a lot of fun with it. So I love that I used I Believe in You, and then You've Got This. I've got that in there. And so if you want to send a card of encouragement to somebody, you could totally do that with this setup. So, okay, so I think that's it. Let's see if I've got any comments. Okay, everybody says it's all good. And yeah, so that's it. Again, the set that has the mice in it is called It's a Bird. And I checked before I went live. We do have stamped die stencil. And then the other one with the tree is called the Heart Tree. And again, we have stamped die stencil in stock for that as well. So hopefully I inspired you to create a scene and then finish your card off with something that you have or something new that you bought or whatever. But just get yourselves to your craft tables and create something and have fun. And we will see you again soon.